Is it
It's
lighting
not.
up now?
No.
Oh, all right. Well,
Oh, it is up at the top though on the left.
Yay! Hi,
Just not at the
everybody.
bottom.
Got it. We wanted to be sure we were recording. Sorry, there's a little discussion there on recording, just in case. But anywho, let's go back. Okay, cool. So, everybody. So here's the deal. When I was growing up, I had horrific periods. They were really bad. I really hated them. I often passed out, and I often got really sick and would spend a couple of days throwing up from the pain. I would break out into cold sweat, and I had to deal with all of the questions asked, because imagine being in high school and passing out in like the middle of English class and then having everybody be like, what the hell is wrong with you? And then you have to be like, I got my period. That didn't go well. It did not go well at all, in fact. So my options presented to me by my doctor, who was a specialist, were to have a baby or have surgery. And I was already on birth control. I was already on narcotics. So I was already on all of the like pharmaceutical options, and none of them made a difference. And I had tried like every kind of birth control that existed, including some that we have found out now you could, if something terrible happened to you, like cancer or death, you could sue those companies for a crap ton of money. None of those things happened to me, so yay. I'm going to take that as a win. But I have found out that some of the things that I was on have been since recalled because they're so horrific and dangerous. But anyway, I was on them all, and I was on narcotics at the same time. So, you know, like nothing like being a teenager on serious drugs. And my options were get pregnant, which seems maybe like not the best thing to do for my high school career. Or have surgery, which seemed a little extreme to have like a partial hysterectomy because of this. So I didn't have a lot of options. And this was in a day and age, you know, this was the 90s, and it was in the aughts that I started figuring this all out. I actually discovered charting. And so it was one of the methods that I used to figure out what worked for me and what didn't work for me. So part of this charting journey is what really saved me from the surgery, because I was able to look at everything I was doing, record the things that were working, see what wasn't working, see how I was feeling, see what was tied to me, what might be tied to something else. I was able to actually really figure out what was hormonal, what wasn't, what worked, and what didn't. So it was really a huge part of my healing journey. And I have still not had a baby, and I still have not had surgery, and I do not anymore have painful, horrific periods. In fact, like my worst symptom now is that I take naps on like 2 days before. I'm like, need naps. And the first day I take at least one really long, luxurious nap. But I plan for it, you know, I make sure that I have time in my schedule. I do what I have to do. And if I don't have time, and that does happen where I do have like a really busy day for whatever reason, I take really good care of myself beforehand. So I know that I will be at my best. So that will be like the month that I don't do something like go to a beer tasting or whatever it is. So that's like the month that I'm like, no, I'm going to be really, really good. I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to be really prepared for this. So it's like, sometimes I'll have like a really good big interview, and it'll be in that late luteal phase or the beginning of my menstrual cycle. And I just know I have to be really prepared for it. And I can. So, you know, had this been 5, 10, 12, 20 years ago, I would have been on the floor. I couldn't have done it. I would have had to cancel. I would have had to stay home. I would have been throwing up. Like, you can't do that. So charting really did save me from having to have surgery, which is like a big deal, really big deal. And I'm not alone. In fact, there's other women that have also had this very similar story. So, the thing about charting is you can start right now. You don't have to have surgery circumstances. Like, you can get started right now. And we're going to talk about why you would want to get started right now down the line here, but you can get started right now, and you don't want to wait to get your shit together to start doing it. You want to start doing it to get your shit together. Cart before the horse. right? So I know we have a tendency to do a lot of things and we say like, I'm going to do that after. Like the interview I was just doing, like we were talking about how you're going to do everything after you lose the 5 pounds. You're going to do everything after you like hit that weight or that goal weight. So in this case, you know, you don't want to wait until you get your shit together. You want to use charting to get your shit together. So we're supposed to start charting on day 1 of our cycle. I say you start charting today, and then you just start a new one on day 1 of your cycle. Like, just start getting the information down. And this is the thing that I love about charting is all of the power, all of the knowledge, it's all in you already. You have it. You just need to know what it means, how to interpret it, and how to get to it. And charting is really one of those ways to access that power. So I love it. I love this quote. If you've watched any class I've ever done, you've probably seen this before anyway. So one of the things that I like to ask about before you start anything is, how would it feel to be in flow? So anything before you start, is this in flow? How would it feel if this was in flow? How would my life feel? How would my business feel? How would my workouts feel? How would grocery shopping feel if it was in flow with my life? Charting is what shows you your flow, literally shows it to you. How would it feel to know that you're really nourishing your body with the food you're choosing? You know that you are in that part of your cycle, and then that is exactly the food that you want to be eating because you've been able to see it. Then you can see the results of it, and you know that you feel good. It's not a number on the scale. It's not about anything like physically or I guess visually oriented. It's really about how you feel. How would it feel to trust yourself 100%? So a lot of women use charting for fertility, and it is the safest, most effective form of birth control, more so than drugs or anything else that's out there. But you have to trust yourself, right? Well, you do. Through charting, you learn to really trust yourself. You go, oh my God, I actually can do this. I 100% actually trust myself. And I know what I mean. I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm feeling. I know what's going on in my body, in my brain. Like, you actually really do know. So what would it feel like to 100% trust yourself? It's kind of a foreign concept. And I have to say that when I thought about this at the beginning, I was like, I don't know. I don't know what that would feel like. I have zero idea what that would feel like. And it was only something that I learned after I went through charting. For my business ladies, what would it feel like to watch your income grow while you relax? Because when you're running your business with your flow, when your days are off, they're not off. You're actually still working on your business. You're just doing the internal work. You're reconnecting with your life vision. You're reconnecting with your business vision. You're making sure everything is working. You're getting rid of the crap that's not. You really are working on your business even when you're not. So you can actually relax and still know that you're being a productive part of your own business. And finally, what would it be like to have a real libido? And by libido, I don't just mean sex drive. I mean a zest for life, to feel good about life, to wake up in the morning and be like turned on, just turned on, have pleasure, to have a capacity to hold pleasure. And this is something that I discovered myself through charting. I didn't even really realize I didn't have a libido for a while. It took me actually charting and going, oh, you know what? I have never filled out the libido portion of this chart ever. I've never marked it. Okay, I need to start actually paying attention to this a little bit. And it was really kind of a crazy moment to just be like, oh, I work a lot and I'm not super passionate and I don't really have a whole heck of a lot of zest for life. Okay, I am all right. It was a real moment for me, I have to admit. So I feel like libido and the idea of being able to enjoy and have pleasure and really be that like turned on woman, first of all, would just save the world, but also would just save our lives from so much nonsense and pain that we don't even realize is there. So it's such an important part of it. And it's such an important thing that charting gives us, is that power back. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple of women who have worked with me before and that I've used charting with them. And I'm going to share some of their stories so you can kind of see a little diverse spectrum and not just hear my story the entire time, though, I do love talking about myself and sharing my crazy story with people because I wasn't allowed to for so very long. And I want you to know that charting, like anything else, isn't about willpower. You can't force your body to do anything. You can't be like, I'm going to make my body do this. I'm going to make my body do this and pound it into the ground. It's not about willpower. It's about desire. So going back to that libido thing, if you really desire anything, you'll make it happen. And tapping into charting and really seeing how all of this stuff plays out in your life, it's fascinating. Coming from just a scientific perspective, it's like, ooh, look at all this amazing data. And I get to figure it all out. And it's like putting a puzzle together. And it's just like, I'm a nerd. So that really gets me going. That turns me on. But for my more emotional and feeling based people, you get to see how it all unfolds. You get to see these beautiful colors and you get to see how your feelings move with you. And you get to see how all of it affects you. So you can actually go, I want to feel awesome all the time. And you can start going, all right, this is how I'm going to arrange this so that I'm feeling good and sexy and turned on. And desire is there for everything. So you really see how it all just sorts of snowball into this amazing place. And I promise you, by the end of this chat, you're going to see the power in your chart and you're going to be there with me. Okay, so let's talk about what the hell is charting. It is something that takes just a few minutes a day. It is something that you record your insights about your body, your energy, the world around you. And in exchange, you learn a lot about yourself. So why you would want to chart. Some of the reasons you would want to chart is to balance your hormones, to have a natural drug-free birth control, to trust your intuition, to gain confidence, to gain clarity, to run your business with flow, to boost your ability to feel pleasure, to boost your libido. And these are literally the things that just were on the top of my head. And then I ran out of space. So for me, charting equals freedom. And I say this a lot, our periods, being tuned into our periods brings us freedom. Being tuned into our cycle brings us freedom. But all of that is based out of charting. All of the work I do is based out of charting. So charting really is what brings you that freedom. And this is my chart. So this is actually a picture of my chart from last year. It was when I had it printed out, so that it was enormous, which was fun, by the way, to color. Just throwing that out there. So this is actually my chart. And charting manually like this with my particular mandala versus using an app. So while apps have gotten better, and there is an app that was released recently that has actually had some scientific study behind it, I'm going to wait, but they do math. Most of them assume that you ovulate on day 14 of your cycle. And if you have your period every month on day 28 and you have an exact 7-day follicular phase and a 7-day menstrual phase, then that will actually work for you. But not everyone ovulates on day 14. And in fact, most of us don't have that perfect 28-day cycle. And most of us don't. I had a perfect 28-day cycle, and for 2 years, perfect, every 28 days on the nose. It was crazy, and I still never ovulated on day 14. Not once. I don't know, maybe once. But I never ovulated on day 14. That was just not my norm. I ovulated on day 12. That was my norm, but not day 14. So if I was using this to plan my life, to use it as birth control, to use it as anything, really, I would be off by a couple of days, which is why I don't like apps. I also don't like apps because you're missing the mind-body connection. When you write things down, you remember it. When you color, you meditate, and you go into that subconscious mind. All of these things are why that just tactile sensation. We learn things better when we digest that knowledge. And when you're just plugging things into an app on your phone, you're not digesting that knowledge. But when you're sitting down and you're looking at this chart and you're going, okay, I'm going to color my energy today. Oh, let's see. Orange is my feeling really good energy. I'm going to grab my orange crayon or pencil or pen or marker or whatever, and I'm going to color in my orange for my energy today. You're going through that thought process and you're really realizing that today you feel good. Or you're going through that thought process and you're going, okay, I was really tired today. I'm going to color it like really dark blue is my color for when I just need naps all day long. So this is usually the day before my period, first day of my period. So generally, or if I'm really sick, and that to me means, oh man, I really needed to take some care for myself yesterday or today when I'm actually doing it. So depending on where I'm coloring it in, but I'm actually going, oh man, I might need some self-care. Like what can I do tomorrow to set myself up so I'm feeling better? So if it's not during my luteal phase or right before my period or during my period, I'm like, oh, I must have, maybe I'm sick. Maybe I have a little cold or something. Okay, I need to go in and like just double check that, like I'm going to grab some echinacea. I'm going to go get my vitamin C on. I'm going to make a huge batch of like collard greens or something really heavy and minerals. And I'm going to go drink a cup of bone broth. Like I'm going to go do all of my sick things just in case that down energy meant I was coming down with something. So it's just a way of giving yourself this really insightful in tune. And you can, I haven't been sick in years. I've had a bacteria infection, like an ear infection that I realized because of my charting. I realized it because I was charting. I don't think I would have noticed otherwise. And then I would have ended up in a doctor's office on antibiotics instead of just going with the old garlic olive oil in the ear trick, which worked in 2 days and it was done and it was gone and it was amazing. But it was because of my charting that really showed me that. So being able to really write it down, to color it in, to look at it, makes so much more difference than just popping data into an app and letting the app tell you. You don't learn nearly as much as if you're looking at the data and you're making those realizations. Okay, so case studies. So Katie, who is a beautiful, amazing woman, suffered for 20 years with really horrific periods. And we use charting as one of the tools to help her. And this is her testimonial or Facebook post that she wrote. She went on to do YBYF with me, which is Your Business, Your Flow, my signature program. But just in working with her and looking at her chart and talking to her and showing her how to do this, we were able to get her libido back, get her hormonal imbalances out of imbalance and into balance. She also had really long periods with horrific cramping like I did. So we were able to get a lot of these things put together. She figured out that she had endo, which was something that I never was diagnosed with because I just knew I had it and there was no reason to do the exploratory surgery. But she went through that. So we really were able to do everything. And it was through nutrition and lifestyle changes. So there wasn't any need to do all of the other options that were out there, like surgeries. Okay, so then Joanne, who had really rough mood swings and depression, got her sanity back, and literally quoting her on that, she definitely went through a lot of energy and emotional issues. So her problems were mood swings. It was like the PMDD, or depending on what country you're in, PMTT. So she had really, really bad energy, really bad moods, and really bad PMS. So we worked with her on that, and it was through this charting process where we were able to see what was going on and what worked for her and what didn't work for her, and get her sanity back so that she could actually enjoy and love, and as she says, cherish her period and the gifts that come with it. So just releasing that depression and anxiety was amazing. And we did it through food. We did it through a couple of supplements, but that whole knowledge is power thing was really a big one for her. And then Alana, who is often in my happy hormones reset. She does that with me almost every time I do it. And she's used her charting skills for shopping and cooking, because when you're charting, you can realize what foods work for you and what foods don't. So when you're looking at your chart, you can actually go, okay, I just hit ovulation. Okay, I know that I need to add in a lot more fiber so that I don't have horrific PMS or really bad cramps. So I'm going to go to the grocery store today, and I'm going to make sure that I pick up a bunch of buckwheat. I'm going to make sure I pick up some extra chia seeds. And actually, your shopping list is super easy because you know what foods are going to nourish you in the coming week. And you can use that for cooking, and you can get your, kitchen witch hat on and become a nice creative magician in the kitchen and actually heal what's happening with your chart, because you're actually looking at your chart, you're sitting down and you're seeing what's there. And then you can use that to your advantage. So this is why I say it's charting to clarity and confidence. And we have a badass sisterhood of women that we work together to learn how to chart and how to do everything charting wise. And I want to take a pause here, and I want to ask you guys, do you have any questions on how to chart or the benefits of charting? And if you do, feel free to put them in the chat box or unmute yourself and say hey. Cool. All right. Love it. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So then I'm going to go in and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I'm offering as far as advanced charting knowledge. Okay. So we've seen all of the cool stuff that charting can do and all of the good ways that you can use it. So one of the things about charting is that it helps if you have more sets of eyes and that you have people to help you and to look at things and work with you. So we have a badass Self-Assured Babes sisterhood, of course, and we're all going to do some charting together. So I'm offering a Charting to Clarity and Confidence workshop. It's going to be a 4-week live call, but we're going to just start the group anyway, ASAP. And we're going to do live coaching. So what's going to happen is you'll have access to videos on how to use the chart, how to make decisions on what you want to color and how you want to color them. And this course is designed to actually just go bit by bit. So I broke down all of the different options on the chart, all those little symbols that are on there, right? Like all of these little symbol guys. I broke them all down into 4 different videos. And I go through each one and explain what they mean and options that you can use. I show you that my exact chart and how I chose to do it. And at the end of each of the videos, you'll take a minute or 2 or however long you want to and make decisions. How are you going to color your chart? What are you going to do? So there's a bit of accountability there. So that then when you move on to the next video, you've already started. And I do them in order of easiest to more difficult. So you can always just go, all right, I'm going to do the first video. I'm going to do this for a week, and I'm just going to practice these. And then you can move on to the next video when you're ready. And you have access to the videos for as long as you want. You can always go back and do them again. You can always go back and change your answers, whatever. But you're absolutely welcome to do that. I'm also going to pop in and we'll do live coaching calls for 4 weeks. So this is where our month is. But the Facebook group is forever. So we'll have the live coaching group, and then I'll come in. We'll talk about, questions, answers. What does this mean? We'll interpret your data. So when you're starting to chart, which is why I say start today, get all the data that you can, so that when we get into this and we start doing the live coaching calls, you can give me your data and we can look at it as a team and we can go, okay, so looking at this and looking at your symptoms and looking at your temperature and looking at your energy levels, we can say that this is out of balance. Maybe there's too much estrogen. Maybe there's not enough progesterone. We can start really looking at what's going on in your body. And then we can start making some changes. And we can go, okay, let's add a little bit of fiber, for example, from earlier. Let's add some more fiber into your diet and see how that goes. And then you'll take that food symbol, which is the apple, and you'll start making a note, like today I had a really fiber-rich day. And you can start to see how that affects your symptoms going down the road. And we'll have 4 weeks to do it with. So we'll have an entire menstrual cycle in order to see how things work and how they affect your body. Charting really sparks your creativity. So love having a group of women to do this stuff with, because you'll have lots of creativity, lots of ways you'll see lots of other people's charts. In fact, I asked my roommate if I could show everyone her chart versus my chart, because I thought it was kind of cool. So you all saw my chart earlier, but just in case, I'm going to show you my most current one, right? So I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to show you this big screen here. Okay, so this is my most current chart right here. And you can see how I do it, right? I use a lot of blue and orange. I use green for my temperature. I have these are my happy colors, and these are the colors that resonate with me. Like blue means tired to me. So these are my colors, right? Orange means high energy and excited. But that's just me. Those are just my colors. Now, my roommate, who is a huge fan of the color purple, that's right, she just started a new one. So she just started her new chart, but see how different hers is to mine? Right? So you can really use your own creativity there, and she uses it. Like she gets in there, she colors she even colors in between spaces, which I just, think is freaking awesome, and I love it. But it's just very different from mine. So you can really do so much cool stuff and creativity with yours. And I like this because as women, we don't use our creativity enough. And if you've ever read Women Who Run with Wolves, I know Linda has, she and I have talked about it before. This whole book is literally about how you need to use your creativity. Women are a river, and we flow when we're using our creativity, and we need to be using our creativity in every day. And I like this because it's just one way for us to use our creativity every single day. And you can change things, nothing has to be the exact same. And my chart from last year to this year changed. I decided I didn't like some of the things I had chosen, so I switched them and I made new ones. And that's the beauty of being a woman. You can change your mind, and you can be creative and flexible, and that's the perfect part about it. So just really using that. And, I find so many times that women end up actually being so much more creative when they start charting and using this mandala, because they start enjoying their creativity again. And then it just blossoms into their whole lives. And there's just so much more creativity in their business and their daily life. It's beautiful to see the creativity. It's a daily meditation. Right? We know coloring in those mandalas is a meditation. That's like a big thing in the world. So that is part of it. You get in your daily meditation, even if it's just for a few minutes, you get a little few-minute meditation. And then you get all those amazing benefits that we talked about earlier. So the confidence, the clarity, running your business with it, libido, your zest for life, all of these things, food, diet, just making grocery shopping and cooking easier. And aside from just any kind of PMS symptoms or any of that kind of stuff, right? So awesome, good. Oh, Linda, even if your life is crappy, keeping the river beneath the river clean and clear via our creativity if life-giving. Yes, exactly. I love that book. So good. Okay, so this charting course is not necessarily for everybody, and I get that. Like, if you don't want to, feel exposed, if you don't want to talk to other people, this may not be for you, and I totally understand that. I'm always happy to work with you one-on-one. You don't have to do it in a group setting, okay? So just know that if you're like the lone wolf and you don't want to do this with a group, that's totally okay. But you should be charting. I don't care how you do it, just do it. This is for those of us who want to really start doing it, and we want the accountability, we want the sisterhood, we want the collaboration, we want to be able to work together, and we would like to be inspired and be inspiring. So for those of us who really want the sisterhood and that gathering space, this is totally for you. And then just to give you a little preview, this is the charting legend. So this is one of the things that we'll fill out in that video course. You'll be filling this out. And then in the Facebook group as well, we'll share I'll share my old one and my new one, and we can see how they've evolved over time. But we'll share our charts and we'll see how everything was happening. You'll also get an example. So with this course, you'll get the PDF download of this chart. So if you don't have it already, you will get it. And then you'll get the chart. And then this is one menstrual cycle. So there's 40 days on there for those sisters who have very long menstrual cycles or maybe going into perimenopause and need that more space. Most of us will use a little over half, around 28 days. The average menstrual cycle is 27 to 32 days. And that's the healthy time frame, which isn't to say that if you're on like a 27-day menstrual cycle, something's wrong with you. It's just that's the average, and that's the good space to be in, is that 27 to 32 cycle. If other things are happening and you're outside of that time frame, like you're having PMS or other symptoms and you're outside of that time frame, that's when we want to start talking about that time frame being a symptom of a hormonal imbalance. But in the group, we'll talk more about what signs are of a good healthy period. We won't dive into that right now. But yeah, so you get this, and I also want to say that one of you is getting a download of the book for free through me, a PDF download of the guide. So, okay, I'm going to put everyone's name into a hat that's here live right now. Lena, Carly, not me, Danny, Linda, Melanie.
You don't need to put me in, Stasha. That's fine.
Who was that?
Linda.
Oh, okay.
I don't need to be in. Thanks.
Okay. I'll take you out. Okay. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carly. Yay! Okay. So make sure that email me your email. You have my email. You have the email that I sent with this webinar link, right?
I emailed you in reply to one of your, I think it was one of your standout ones, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So hit reply, and I will shoot you the PDF of the full book because it's rad.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here live. Thank you, everybody, for coming and being here live. Okay, so do I have any questions on the charting, the course, your own chart, your own symptoms, anything? Hit me. Any questions? You feel like you've got a good idea of why you should be charting, what you should be charting, the awesomeness that charting is. I want us to really feel awesome about charting. That's the main goal here, is to feel awesome about charting. Cool. All right, awesome. So then I'm just going to, yeah, do hit me.
My question is actually more about the planning process. How long do you chart before you start planning out your life around your chart? I have a hard time. I know what my symptoms mean. I can tell by my mood that I'm going to start soon. I can tell by my mood that I'm ovulating or just ovulated, but I have a hard time predicting when those things are going to happen.
Is that because that they're
starting electronically for a while now?
Is that because they're really varied in time and length?
They're more long. I guess I haven't looked forward much, but my periods are usually, my cycle's usually longer than normal. So a lot of the apps have a hard time predicting that.
Right. Yes. Boom. Just made my point for me. So you could start right now.
How many cycles before I'll be able to predict that with accuracy, I guess?
Well, first of all, when you start planning your life with this, you start planning in bigger chunks. So you do things like you plan a week ahead. So I do plan things. I plan things yearly, quarterly, monthly, and weekly. I rarely plan things daily. I do plan, interviews and appointments and those kinds of things. Fine. And sometimes they fall on inconvenient days, and that's just life. But I plan things in those bigger spectrums because I know for a month, I need to get all of this shit done. Right? So then I go in and I go, okay, well, this is my month master list. Now let's say I'm in the menstrual phase, just to start at day 1. So day 1 to day 5, I'm in my menstrual phase. I know that I'm going to do the to-do things on my list that are clean up my business, get rid of anything that's superfluous, take out things that aren't like on brand, that aren't part of the period coach. Maybe go in and look at, say, some of the artwork. Like maybe I want to change a banner. Like I changed the banner in the Facebook group during my menstrual phase. Just throw that out there if anyone's curious why that happened when it did. So like I do those kinds of things when I know that I'm going to want to rest, be creative, take some me time. And then I do like the creativity stuff during that phase. So I'll be like, okay, I want to start this new course. How am I going to do it? What do I want to have in it? And I start doing that. Then I know that I'm going to be hitting my follicular phase. I know that on day like 4 of my cycle, my energy is going to start to rise. So I'm going to look at that week and I'm going to just put as much crap as I can possibly cram onto my to-do list for that week. I'm going to run the errands. I'm going to go take the dog to the, climb the mountain. We're going to, do we have a vet appointment that needs to happen? Do I need to go do a massive grocery shopping trip to the co-op because I only get there like once every couple of months? So like all of that stuff. And then my to-do list, like my really big business to-do list. So let me show you an example of a follicular week. Right? This is definitely a follicular week. Not to say that lately, okay, but this is the menstrual week. Well, actually, it's the week before. It's a little week because that's when I'm like tired. So these are the non-negotiables. I have to have the email. I need to write my email newsletter for the week. I need to hit the Facebook groups once a day for the week. I needed to work on the summit. Like there were a couple of things that needed to be done. So those were the non-negotiables for that week. So then I just plow through that list through my follicular and my ovulatory phases, whatever doesn't get done in that list. And it's not a guilt trip. If it doesn't get done in that week, it goes into my ovulation part 1 of my luteal phase. Great. I front loaded the shit out of it so that I could then put it into the next space. And then you go into that last phase, that luteal phase, just before the period when your energy is low and you're just like, fuck the world, and I want to be an introvert, and I want to just cook stew and eat and, watch CSI for a week. And you do because you've only got a few tasks left on the list. You have to do the email. You have to say hi in the Facebook groups. Though those tend to be the ones when I don't make it on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for the week. And I batch cook for the month coming ahead. And I watch like 5 episodes of CSI in a row because, it's fun to watch someone get murdered and see what happened. That's my guilty pleasure. But you're not guilting yourself. You're not failing when that luteal week comes around and you don't want to. You don't want to for really good reason. And that's not a guilt trip for it. So you can actually start planning right now. You know that you have a longer cycle. You know that you have more time. You can still look at it from a month perspective and go, this is all of my shit that I need to get done this month, which is where it comes to you got to get it together a little bit, which is kind of where I love, like I'm in YBYF. I'm teaching it right now and it's great because we each have a project that we worked through in the course, and my project is the summit. So to teach YBYF, I need to know what I need for my project because I have to show everybody. And I kind of like that. I really like that accountability because it keeps me ahead of the curve because I'm teaching it. But the girls that are in it are doing the same thing. Like they have to bring their project every 3rd week and fill out what's happening. So it keeps us planning. And this is where that community thing comes together. which is why I like this. I wanted to do this charting course so that we could have this sense of community and go, okay, how do we do this? And have that a bit of accountability and see how it looks. And once you do it, you're like, holy shit, this works really well. This is way easier. And you go, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this. And then you'll stop doing it. And then you'll be like, that sucked. I'm never doing that again. And you'll get back on the horse. Just know that that's part of the process. You fall off the horse from time to time. That's okay. But I like the idea of accountability because that's what really keeps us like pushing and open and staying ahead of that curve. So you can really start right now and just front load yourself and then see what gets done. And there's nothing wrong with having those like really awesome long work days when you're feeling that really good energy and knocking it out, you know, like batting 1,000, just knock it on out. And then when you go, oh, okay, I need to like calm the fuck down for a minute, you can. And you can just chill out and you can calm down and you can do that inner work that you need to do. Because we're not on this planet to just do, you know, business. We're on this planet to have life, live life. So go enjoy that life part too. That makes a big difference. And you get more done anyway. You get more done when you do that. You just do. Like people think I'm crazy when I say that, but you do. You get a lot more done when you have more time off. There is a saying that you will fill the time that you have. So if you're planning workouts and planning cooking and planning time, like you're in your follicular and ovulatory phases. So you're planning nights out with the girls and you're planning a date night and you're planning on hitting a really hard workout class. You won't have as much time, but you'll get way more done because you're planning life. So your work will get done much quicker and more efficiently. I can't tell you how much doing the summit has forced everything else to get really freaking efficient. And I'm like, oh, I'm running my business in like 2 hours a day. Whereas before it took me, you know, all of them. And now I'm like, I have to spend 6 hours interviewing women every day or talking to them about their interviews or whatever. So I'm spending on average 6 hours with somebody one-on-one a day for their interviews. And I still have to, you know, run the business. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing what I can get done in 1 hour. I didn't think I could, but I can. So it really is like you extend your time. So plan your life, plan it with your flow, plan your life with your flow, and everything else will totally just fall into place in the time that's available. Cool. Anyone else? Questions, comments, anything? Radtastic. I love it. Fantastic. Okay. So I'm going to finish up with just a couple of things. One is that next week on Wednesday the 5th, we have our virtual red tent at 5 p.m. my time, which is 2 hours later than we started today. So wherever you are, add 2 hours. But on Wednesday here in the States. So if you're in Australia, add a day. It's fun. It's fine. Like half of my people are in Australia. It's the whole thing. I'm getting really good at the time conversion. So we have the free virtual red tents. I haven't decided on our topic yet, but if you have any ideas or anything that you want to talk about, please let me know. But we have our monthly red tent on Wednesday next week. And if you want to jump in on this charting class and join us in this charting course, you can head over to theperiodcoach.com/product/chart2Clarity and pop in. And we have an early bird price for $97. So super duper steal. And that'll be up for just a limited amount of time. And then it'll go back to the regular price. So I wanted to get this out there and get this to you guys and start going. We aren't going to start the live calls for 2 weeks at least. And then we'll talk in the group about when to have some, because I'm going to be on the road and I'm going to be at a summit. I'm recording my summit for the rest of this week. Next week, I'm going to a conference and then I'm going to be on the road. So You've got some time to be in the Facebook group and start doing the charting and watching the videos. So when we do start the live calls, you should have some really excellent data to look at. You should have some really good questions to kick us off with already. So I'm kind of digging the fact that my schedule is giving us this little bit of time to just chill and hang out in the Facebook group. I'll totally be in the Facebook group, but we'll be chatting in there first. So we'll really have a lot of opportunity to like dig in deep for the month when we go into our live calls. So if you guys have any questions, again, feel free, call, text, send a carrier pigeon. I don't know where I'll be, but maybe it'll find me. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully I will see you in the class. See? Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ladies. I hope that was informative. I hope that was helpful. I hope you got some really good inspiration and you're like super stoked to chart now. And I hope you have your chart. So if you need anything, you let me know, okay? Yes, there's one. Yes. Nice job, Carly. Yes. Go, Gianni. Awesome. So yeah, ask questions. If you have any questions, feel free and let me know, okay? Super excited, guys. Yay. All right, cool. I will see you in class.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.